Did you ever want to know what is it that motivates people, including you? Neuroscience or the brain science helps us understand the drivers of our motivation and our actions. And in this video, we will learn how our brain works in relation to what motivates us and what demotivates us. Hello and welcome to my video. My name is Kaushik Chaki, and in this video, I'm going to share the SCARF model, the model which is used to influence people trying to understand what are the elements that motivates people or demotivates people. So, before we go into the elements of SCARF model which would help you understand what motivates and demotivates people, let us first understand the very basic function of a brain. So, the basic function of a brain is to determine when to take an action or when to approach something or when to avoid something. Now, this function is called our brain's avoid approach response. And this response has developed as an evolutionary response which has largely kept human beings alive. For example, think about the Stone Age. The cavemen surrounded by various different species of animals, some very dangerous and some not so dangerous. So for the animals which are very dangerous, the brain perceives them as threat, and for the animals which are not so dangerous, the brain perceives them as reward. So for predators such as saber-tooth, the brain responds as a threat. Now, this threat can be a threat to the life or the threat to the group. And when we talk about the animals which are not so dangerous, the brain would perceive these animals as reward. Reward in sense of food, maybe shelter, maybe clothes, or the various other byproducts of that animal. So the moral of the story here is our brain responses in two different ways. One is as a threat, second is as a reward. So a threat is like run away, and a reward is like okay, let's take it. Now I would like you to concentrate on these two words that I'm going to introduce. I'm going to correlate these words with rewards and threat. So the word I'm going to correlate with reward is motivation, and the word which will be correlated to threat would be demotivation. Now these are the four words that I'm going to use to explain the SCARF model with you. So threat or demotivation and reward or motivation. Now I'm going to talk about the SCARF model. Through this model, you will understand that what are the main elements that would help you identify motivating factors or the demotivating factors of people. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share examples along with this model, and these examples would be examples at workplace. So the SCARF model was first introduced in 2008 by David Rock, and it is based on the neuroscience findings. And this model is an easy way to remember 5 elements that drives our responses to maximize the rewards and minimize the threats. Now there are actually more than 5 elements. There are many elements that drives our responses. But the SCARF model concentrates on 5 most important elements which helps in influencing and motivating others. And these elements are blockbusters, super hit when it comes to influencing people or trying to understand the motivating or the demotivating factors or the actions of people. So I'll repeat the basics here again. Any positive emotion or reward generally creates action or approach, and any negative emotion or punishment would lead to avoidance. So the 5 powerful elements of SCARF model are status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. Too fast, isn't it? I'm going to explain each and every one with examples. So number 1 is status. Now the status relates to the relative importance to others. As humans, we are constantly assessing how social interactions either improve or reduce our status. So for example, suppose you have been given a project by your boss and there were some issues with the targets or the deadlines. So in front of your team members, the boss says, you know what, you're bad at time management, you need to work on it. So now what would be our response? Think over it. Just because this specific feedback has been given to me in front of all my team members, I might take it as a threat or a demotivation. Demotivation that I'm not good at time management. Threat, where can you see a threat here is whenever there is a new challenge coming up which is tagged with a deadline. I would think, no, I'm not the best guy in time management, so I'll just pass this challenge. So that's where the negative things comes out. And what would be positive here? If your boss generally gives you this feedback in closed doors, that is one-on-one discussion, maybe you would take it in a very positive manner, like, okay, my boss actually thinks about me, he cares about me, he's mentoring me. So now this would be a positive emotion. So that's the difference in the mindset and the response depending on the status. The next element or the domain of the SCARF model is certainty. Now, certainty relates to predicting the future. Again, a workplace example. So in this example, your boss has given you a task to create a report. That's it. No extra instructions delivered by a boss. So now what would be your response? You do not have a clear path on what exactly do I need to create a report on. So what would you do? You would avoid creating a report until and unless you do not get extra information, or else you may take that extra step to confirm with your manager what is it that they actually want. Because in a report, there may be a variety of things that is required. Maybe your boss is looking for a location-wise report, maybe sales figures, specifically the profits out of the whole sales reports that you share, or else the training reports, or else the new joining reports for the HR department. So we are not sure what is it that a manager exactly wants. Until and unless we are certain, we would not be motivated to work on that specific thing. Again, in my workplace experience, I have seen people frustrated because they do not get accurate information from their managers. And I have seen people doing really well because they get the right information from the manager. They do not have to do a back and forth with their work. Now, the next, that is the third element of SCARF model, is autonomy. Autonomy relates to the sense of control over events. This in general means how much ownership or how much accountability you have to make specific decisions. So for example, your head of department decides that you would be a person who would take care of the upcoming event specifically for your department. Now let's take this event as a reward and recognition event. So now it is only you who is the owner on planning the event, logistics, finalizing the appropriate budget for the event, finalizing the location of the event, and all other various things such as food, drinks. Now, don't you feel that you have the total control over things? And when we have this sense of control over things, our brain perceives this situation as a reward or a motivation, where we are the owners, the only decision makers for that specific event. Now, instead of this situation, think about a situation where along with you, your boss also selects 3 more people from your department as owners of specific things, such as there's another guy who's taking care of the logistics, there is a girl who he has selected for the rewards and recognition part, and then there is another person who he has selected for the location part. And your job would be to take care of the coordination part. So which situation would you prefer? So the second situation that I gave you, in this there are a lot of new characters, and we may think that okay, our work has been distributed, so our time and energy would be saved, but you are not the only stakeholder here who is going to take the decisions now. Now there would be other people involved in decision making. There would be a lot of energy and time consumed in the coordination part with all the other stakeholders. So here, maybe our motivation would go down. Now again, this depends on people to people. There would be some people who would be happy that there are more brains to think, more people to save the time and energy. But there would be some people who would be demotivated because the control part has been taken out from their perspective. So this is another important element. The next important element number 4 that I'm going to talk about, is relatedness, which is in line with the sense of safety with others. So you'll find a lot of people in the workplace who are motivated to take decisions with respect to the person instead of facts. Now, why does this happen? Our empathy for people increases when we can relate to them. So, for example, in the workplace, you might have observed some people being biased for other people. Why does this biasness or the preference or favorism or groupism happen? It happens because of either the gender, the color, the culture, the caste, the religion, and going on. If I can relate to you from any of these factors that I just told you, then I would be much more comfortable to take a positive action for you or to think positively for you if I can relate to you. And if I do not relate to you, again, if I'm being partial or I'm not giving you a preference, then I would be demotivated, or else I would avoid taking decisions in your favor. And when it comes to customer handling and when it comes to people management, leadership qualities, it can completely turn the table around. Now, the fifth element of SCARF model is fairness. Now, this relates to the perception of fair exchanges. Where the deal is fair to you, then you take positive approach. You think about that situation as a reward for yourself. And when you think that, in some situations where people are not fair to you, then you generally try to avoid that. That demotivates you to further negotiate in a deal or a conversation as well. So these are the 5 most important elements or the drivers of motivation and actions of people. What I would request you to do is, for yourself, try to identify what are your trigger factors here, and then try to identify the trigger factors or the motivating factors out of all these 5 for people you regularly interact in your day-to-day life. Try to find their trigger factors, their motivating factors from these 5 elements that I've told you. And then if you practice what I've told you, you would be able to influence people in a much more easier manner than you used to before. So that's all for this video. I hope this topic was interesting for you and you have learned something new. Thank you so much. This is Kaushik Chaki signing out.